Hey guys, we're going to try something a little bizarre today. So, if you're not here for the weird, you might not want to watch this. So I have some leftover dyes from my speckle experiment. There's a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, right? I'm just going to put those together, mix them up, and throw them in this plastic bag. And then, oh, some of it got wet. Oh, this will do. I'm just going to scrape that off the bowl and dump it in the bag too. Okay, we got that in the bag. Now, I'm probably out of my mind. I should probably use a new bag for this because this one might actually have holes. Hold on a second. I reuse my Ziploc bags like a million times for my fiber, but because I want to use water in this one, I'm going to get out a brand new fresh one from the Dollarama, quality. They work for what I want. So, open this up and transfer this dye into this bag. Okay. There. So there's our dye. I'm going to move this out of the way. And then I've got here some silk. It's in with my Superwash Merino. Okay, we got some silk. Now we know we're supposed to pre-soak silk, and you know what? We're not pre-soaking it. I'm going to take a bit of silk. As usual, I'm being very scientific and I'm measuring everything, and I'm going exactly according to all the tests I've done to know how much dye I need per knot. We're winging it. All right, we have some silk. And I'm just going to shake it up a little bit. Just loosen up that roving a bit. Bobo's getting into trouble over on the other side of the counter. Okay, shake that up a little bit. I'm going to get it in the bag. And we'll just kind of want it loose and open because we're going to shake and bake this fiber. All right, squeeze some of the air out. And then I want to just kind of mix the dye in with the fiber. I have no idea if this is going to work. Okay, let's try putting a little bit of air in it. Now remember, this is a mix of citric acid and dye. And we're just kind of mixing in. Okay, it's not spreading into the fiber as much as I had hoped it would, but it is kind of in there. So then what I want to try, just grabbing a pot in case the bag melts. I'm going to try pouring a little bit of water in there. And then just let it cook. I don't know what's going to happen. There we go. And I'm just going to leave it to sit. And we'll see what happens. I have no idea what this is going to do. The bag may melt. It may leak out into the pot. It may turn into a disaster. Don't know. Don't care. We're just going to leave it sit and we'll find out. And because I used dry silk, it's going to take a while for this to soak in. And it might make some interesting results. It might not. I have no idea. This is like just complete mystery. So I'm going to set that aside and we'll come back in a bit and see what happens with this interesting chaos. Let's have a look at how our little experiment is going. So there's our silk. Actually, it's exhausting, guys. Look at. Oh, holy crap. Look at that. Hold on, I'm going to zoom you in. Oh, it's hard with the glare, but can you see? Like over here, we have some that's the really, really dark orange, and then it goes all light. Oh, we just dyed in a bag. Like, seriously, we just dyed in a bag. Now, there's still a little bit of color in there. It's still a little bit warm. So I think we're just going to let that, I'm going to tip it up like this though, so that it's all sitting in the water. And we will just, we'll let that keep brewing for a little while. Holy, I can't believe that worked. I'm stunned. I'm thrilled, but stunned. How, I didn't think this would work, guys. I honestly didn't. Wow. Okay, I'm going to let it continue to cool. And hopefully it'll soak up the last of that dye. If it doesn't, that's fine. I mean, it's a red. Reds never exhaust fully, although this one's all well on its way. Then we'll wash it up and see how it looks when it's dry. But I got to tell you right now, I'm pretty freaking excited. We dyed in a bag. Okay, I'll be back in a bit. Here it is, guys. This was our silk that we dyed in the bag. And the color uptake is absolutely stunning and incredible and gorgeous. But the problem is it's not set very well. I rinsed this about 5 times and I was still getting color bleed. So I should reheat set it and try to get that dye to set a little more. But I think for the moment, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a chunk of it to do a sample spin with. And then so we can see how it'll look in a yarn. But I think what I would do next time is use a boil bag, like a bag you can boil. Let it uptake the dye and then put it in a water bath to let it heat up some more and let that dye set a little better, because the uptake is, it's stunning. Like, look at how tonal that is, how gorgeous it is. Like, oof, 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 oof. So pretty. But I really should heat set it again before we, I know what I should do, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to spin it because that's me and it's only mine and I know that it bleeds and I'll be careful because I want to spin it. So let's get to the wheel. Okay, so I took our silk, which we know is going to bleed like a bugger, and I spun it, I core spun it onto a mohair core. Got some little fiber chunks stuck to it. So and then chain plied it to make this nice fluffy texture yarn. Now, often when you're working with a yarn like this, it's really hard to know what size of needle you should use because no one's there to, give you a pattern, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out my fancy needles. First thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our needle gauge. Okay? We're going to take our yarn and double it up. So just fold it in half. And then we're going to see, I'm guessing it's going to be the biggest one. Yeah. See which hole it goes through. Now this one's still going to be pretty tight because you can see that it's just barely sliding through there, but that's going to give us an idea of where to start. So that would be that one right there. So we would use an N crochet hook or a size 10 needle. Okay, but that will work. I'm just looking for another sample of yarn. Okay, here's an old one. That will work with any yarn. So we'll just double it up. And then we find a hole that it kind of slides through. This one here. So now because the fold was really strong, that just looks a little too big. So let's drop it back a bit. You just want it to be able to go through the hole without binding. So right there is about where we want to be. So that gives us a 5.5. Now that just gives you a starting place. You may do a little sample and decide that you want to go bigger or smaller, and that's fine. But this at least gives you a place to start. So let's open up our needles here and get our biggest. These are our 10 millimeter or US size 15. These are my ones I was using for my samples. This set gets a lot of use, let me tell you. I love it. And then find my cables. These are my large cables. I need those. And I need a T-pin, which I have in this little baggie. There we go. So what we're going to do, find a cable. We don't need a very big one. Oh, that's way too long. We don't need that. We're just knitting up a sample, so we'll use that one. There we go. And just twist our little ends on here. And twist this end on here. And then we use our little T-pin to go through this hole right here and tighten it so it doesn't untwist while you're knitting. Okay. Oops, I bent my T-pin. They don't jam. I haven't been able to jam them anyways. I give them a really good wrench and they pop right loose again when I go to do that. All right, let's get this wound up into a ball. Now, because this is such a fuzzy yarn, I would probably just steam set it so you're not crushing that texture. But you could wet set it too. Just be careful in the handling that you don't crush it too much because you've spun it for this texture. You don't want to undo the texture. All right. Now we only have a little bit, so I'm not even going to bother to ball it up. I'm just going to Just going to cast on a few stitches here. Because we're working with big needles, we're not going to need that many. 2. This works better with a smoother yarn. You kind of have to manipulate this cast on to get it to go. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to really bother me to do this, but I'm only going to cast on 8 stitches. Usually I have to go like in multiples of 5. I don't know why, but my default is multiples of 5. So I'm going to force myself to just do 8. And we're just going to, all right, there we go. We're going to do a few rows in snake stitch. For those of you who aren't on my channel often, that is garter stitch. I can never remember garter stitch, but I can remember garter snakes, which we grew up catching when I was a kid. So for some reason in my head, the garter stitch has become the snake stitch, which, you know, if you're not weird like me, why are you even here? That's become my motto of the week because I've been so weird lately. But there it is. Snake stitch. Do a couple rows of that so that the edge doesn't curl. Yeah, see, I would probably have used a slightly bigger needle because this is still pretty dense. Let's see how it's starting to look. But this is like the softest, fuzziest yarn you will ever use. Using silk like this, like doing a core spun and then chain plying it to get this poofy yarn is just, it's so amazing. Like the feel of it is just unreal. All right, now we're going to switch to stockinette. And no, I don't have a fancy name for the stockinette stitch. Just the snake stitch. Oh, that big sigh was just me releasing a whole bunch of tension that I didn't know I was holding. Whew. Okay, I need a drink of coffee. I am fresh out of bed doing this, by the way. Okay, we just have a little bit left, so we'll just finish it out stockinette. Now, I always slip my first stitch because I know my edges are always atrocious. My tension sucks. But, you know, so be it. I'm aware of it. I make accommodations for it. Yeah, definitely should have used a bigger needle, but I had these ones handy and I didn't want to go digging. But this will make like a dense fiber. If you want something with a little more drape, just go with the bigger needle. And by the way, if you crochet, you can make garments with drape. Just increase your needle to yarn or your hook to yarn size and open it up and it will drape. I promise you, you can make crochet with drape. Just always in the olden days, they just did it with like small hooks to make dense fabric that had form, not drape, which for some things is perfect, for others is not. I personally prefer drape. Okay, there we go. So there is our sample of our core spun silk. Let's see if we can get in close enough that you can see the halo. Hold on. So that halo is perfectly soft and fluffy. There would be absolutely no itch in this. And yes, spinning silk this bulky seems like a luxury thing to do, right? That's an expensive fiber to do that with. But why do we do this if not to enjoy the fibers that we have? Like I told Sadie at Sadie's Spincraft, use that wool and silk to make socks. What's wrong with having silk in your socks? It's hard wearing. It's perfect. Like, absolutely. Don't save your fibers for a rainy day or whatever. Get them out, use them, make things that you're going to enjoy. Life is too short to have it just sit on the shelf. Like, come on. Get it out, use it, enjoy it. You can always get more down the line. But just sitting and admiring it, to me, is waste of a perfectly good fiber. Enjoy it. Come on, pull it out of the box. Saying that, I've got a box of stuff that I'm going to pull out and spin because it's been sitting in the box too long and it's time I enjoyed it. Anyways, lecture over. I'm just saying, use your stuff. Don't save it for a good project or a rainy day. Use it now. Today is the rainy day. Anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll get together a little while later for another adventure, and who knows what we'll end up doing because, you know, my brain is a busy place. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you on the next adventure. Bye.